This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Wednesday, July 26, 2023. I'm Alex Brown. An antique powerhouse in East Central Indiana draws droves of collectors and hobbyists to furnish their homes, buy gifts, and add to their collections. Wayne County's Antique Alley is a cluster of around 40 stores and 1,000 vendors selling antiques, vintage clothing, and local products that attracts people from all over.
People from the east and people from like Chicago migrate to our area because our antiques are a lot cheaper. You know, when people travel, they don't care about county lines or state lines. They want to know what's to do in our area.
Richmond Leisure Marketing Director Nancy Sartain says they don't see the antique momentum slowing down anytime soon. Minnesota-based ENT Partners has acquired Southern Indiana ENT and Indianapolis Sinus Center, headquartered in Columbus, with locations in Seymour, Franklin, and Greenwood. Financial terms of the deal are not being disclosed. ENT Partners CEO Jim Feinstein told Inside Indiana Business that no jobs will be negatively affected by the acquisition. In fact, the company expects to see 10% employee growth annually. The U.S. subsidiary of Italy-based Cermax Group is increasing production of a flame-retardant compound it says is growing in demand. Cermax North America said it is dedicating one of the production lines at its Anderson location to the compound and could add a small number of jobs. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
For 25 years, we've had the honor of telling the story of Indiana business. More than 1,300 shows, 8,000 interviews. We've traveled from Valparaiso to Versailles, Fort Wayne to Fort Branch, and everywhere in between. And we are just getting started. Our team is passionate about Indiana business because your story is worth telling. Join us every week as we travel the state to bring you Indiana's story. Inside Indiana Business, 25 years and counting.
The Gary Chicago International Airport is celebrating a milestone this summer. IIB's Kate Sharon has details.
On May 14th, the airport marked its 400th international flight since opening its U.S. Customs and Border Protections facility in October 2018. That 2018 edition allowed international travelers to fly into Gary without clearing customs elsewhere first. Officials say 4 years after opening the facility, the airport averages 7 landings per month from 34 countries spanning 4 continents. Airport Authority Chairman Pete Visklosky said post-pandemic operations have rebounded strongly and are on pace to exceed prior operations. The airport began a series of infrastructure improvements in 2015, starting with an extension of the main runway. At nearly 9,000 feet, the extension creates the second largest runway in the region, just after the O'Hare International Airport, and has allowed the airport to service larger, heavier aircraft. Gary Airport officials recently announced the purchase of a new 3,000-gallon airport rescue and firefighting truck to add to its fleet of equipment that's 20 years or older. Kate Sharon, Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Less than a month after laying off all of its workers, Anderson-based battery manufacturer Enerdell is declaring bankruptcy. The company filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, also known as liquidation, which involves selling a company's property and distributing the proceeds to creditors. The move was not unexpected. In June, the company fired its workforce without warning, former employees of the company told our partners at the IBJ. It's unclear how many workers were affected by the shutdown, but the company reported having 60 employees last year when it was acquired by Paul Herbert, a longtime board member at the company. South Bend's bustling Eddy Street corridor is growing yet again. Members of the South Bend Common Council approved a request for a tax abatement this week from developer Holiday Properties to build a $31.5 million apartment complex called Five Corners. It's the latest in a string of projects that has reshaped the busy corridor to the south and east of the Notre Dame campus. Joseph Stanton is vice president of Three Leaf Development.
Location in real estate is obviously everything. So, given that we're so close, just a 9-iron, so to speak, from campus, I think the location is kind of number one. So, obviously you have Eddy Street, that's very close to campus as well. That's very well known. But obviously we're, over by the kind of corner of campus where all the athletic facilities are and athletic fields. So I think location is number one. But then also you want to make sure that you have, enough amenities to attract potential tenants as well.
The developments are reshaping a corridor lined with restaurants, bars, and other businesses appealing to the university crowd. WGU Indiana Chancellor Allison Bell is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, and entertainment, and beyond. Available now from your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.